been a long time coming. They ain't come from my club, they tugged it. Putting up numbers, 99 problems, and I still kept it 100. Hola. Yeah.
And we're back. And if you don't know who I am yet, my name's Kenny Glick. The game that you're playing right now, the stock that you're trading, the platform you're on, I built it. Never existed before me. I know, I'm that old. 53-year-old, right there. Look at this. I got some grays coming in on the beard now, right? Just for effect. But if you don't know who I am, Google my ass. Not my ass, but, well, that will take you to a whole different website. But Google me, Kenny Glick. I've been doing this my whole life. And wait till I show you what we're gonna talk about some fun stuff today. But I hope you guys are in the Tom Lee stock, the BMNR. We got our subscribers in at 14 bucks yesterday, and we're still in it. And we'll go over some levels on that in a second. If you don't know about Tom Lee saw his shadow yesterday, which ensures the market, it's another at least 12.5% upside from here, as well as announcing his, affiliation with this company, Bitmine Immersion Technologies Incorporated.com, Mr. Jones. I don't know what the name of the company is. Yeah, something like that. Doesn't matter. Tom Lee mentioned it. And right now, as the market, if you know a little bit about the market, let me show you my screen, first of all. If you know anything about the market, right, it's a perpetual bull market, right? We're always in a bull market. I don't care what you read or hear or say. There's never been an extended period of time where the market hasn't gone back to all-time highs. So in theory, we're really in a perpetual bull market. 80% of the time we're going up, and 20% of the time we're either in a correction or a crash, which doesn't last. And if you haven't noticed now, it's almost illegal to be a seller or a shorter. The durations of bear markets are becoming less and less, to the point where soon the new bear market will be when the market's only up 3 or 4%, opposed to the 25 or 50% like we're about to blast off into. And by the way, this day is very unique. It's 12 o'clock, and the QQQ is actually still red. We haven't had a red day that's lasted past 12 o'clock, it seems like, since May 11th, or May 12th, sorry, the power gap. All right, so let's go back. That system you're on right now, like I said, I built it. Day trading, the term, I invented it. When I started trading in 1997, we were the first official day traders. We were trading on a system called SelectNet and SOS, Small Order Execution System, and SelectNet. We had our market maker boxes, and we were able to send our orders right to the market makers through a system called SelectNet, and SOS was brand new. That was Small Order Execution System. And for the first time, the regular people, just schmucks like us, pizza guy next to me, the contractor, everybody was a trader at one point in 1998, 99. And the reason you hear legends about those times was that you got 100-to-1 leverage, which was nuts. You put $5,000 to account, some firm would give you $50,000 to play with. It was insane. And every day was basically the same thing. Every day was the same day. The market would open up higher. It would fade for 15 minutes, right? You know what fading means? You'd pull in, right? And then it would hit an inflection point and then rally from basically 10 o'clock till about 12. And then it would go sideways. And then at 1:45, it would start to sell off. And we called that the 2 o'clock fucking. Hear me out on this one. So when I ran my own office, the owner was behind me in his private office with his buddy, 2 owners. Then you had the main traders with me in the corner, my boy Robbie Krieger, not from the doors. You had my boy Corey, you had Todd, Elon, and of course Ray at the end, who was making $50,000 a day. It was insane. And that was the crew, and then we had an entire office of people that way. So it was the main traders up here, and we faced out towards everybody else. So basically it was the same day every day. I was already doing training at this point because I just again, my days were over by now. And, there would be a 3-hour lull during the day. And then the market would pick up steam again at 3 o'clock. So basically between 12 and 3, I was just fotzing around doing squadouche. So I actually started teaching people and launched an AOL chat room. Yeah, that's how old I am. AOL, dial-up. And you'd launch your own room. You know, I used to call it Lonely Housewives 43. And we would actually get Lonely Housewives to show up to the chat room. But that's another story for another day. But you had to be invited to the room if you didn't see it on, you know, again, if you don't remember AOL, you probably don't. But you just send an invite and people would come to the room and voila, stock market chat room was born. I was the first one ever. And we started using it to communicate what we liked and the ideas. And I'm like, wow, this is actually a great thing. So as we, you know, progressed, you know, we advanced the technology and whatnot. But let me talk about the 2 o'clock fucking. I know you're probably waiting on that one. By the way, you see all the green on the screen? Yeah. I'll explain that too also, what's going on. Ripping! That's what's going on. So the 2 o'clock fucking. And again, back to the story of why everybody was getting rich in 1998, 99, 2000. It was the same day every day. You dip, you'd Sho Bro, and then you'd break out and you would rally till 12. The only mistake people made was around 145, the market would break the uptrend of the day. And it would, you know, kind of jiggle around and chop, but you had this little downtrend. But then 15, 20 minutes later, it would dissipate and start to get back in the trend. And by 2:15, you were back in trend, consolidating and ready to rip into the close. And it was every day. But the funny part was, at around 145, the degenerates who never leave the desk and always looking for trades, all you'd hear is, fuck! Fuck! And the 2 o'clock fucking was born. Because the reason we called it 2 o'clock fucking was that every one of those traders that was joining on a short trade was getting fucked. Because the market never went down. Welcome back. Welcome back to that environment right now. We are never going down. And the entire market now is basically a 2 o'clock fucking. Because anytime you short and you're playing by the rules, you're getting stopped out. Anytime you short and you're up money and you don't cash out, you're giving it all back and you're losing. And if you know about me, maybe you do, maybe you don't. I have been trading since the womb. My father taught me how to trade as soon as I was born. Taught me about the market, explained to me crashes, and why the market probably won't ever go down again, and that was 1987. He said, son, now that the market crashed, we're probably going to be off to a 12 and a half to a 15-year rally. It's going to be awesome. I'm taking all your bar mitzvah money and I'm putting it into this mutual fund. Good thing he did. So fast forward to what we do today, right, and what you're looking on the screen. Those are my scanners going off, just basically telling you the breadth of the market is bullish, super bullish. Because, look, it's speeding up, and do you see any red going by? No. So it's basically, it's a breathalyzer, more or less, for the market. So you might see some negative stuff going on in the market today, right? It's all bullshit. Market can't go down. So when we met, maybe we just met a couple of months ago, right? And we had this May 12th event. And if you guys remember, what did we call it? Well, there is only one way to call it. It's called the power gap. All right? So power gapping. Now, again, if you remember, again, as a bearish guy who has learned the hard way, you cannot make money as a shorter, nor should you even attempt to short anymore, right? That the market is always going up, always, right? Every once in a while, there's a correction or a crash, but it's generally always going up. And sometimes the market goes up so fast that they, and again, let's just call it they needed to go down because they don't own enough, or they need to transfer the wealth. That's what it is. Warren Buffett said it best. What's investing? The market does a great job taking the money from the impatient and handing it to the patient as we go up. And just like you were duped into believing cardboard guy with the tariffs, just saying percentages were going to crash the market and we were going to go into a bear market forever, you bought that line. Just like you bought the line last August. So last August, I don't know if you guys remember, they named it something, and they always give it a name, right? What they call it? They called it the yen carry unwind. Still waiting a year later for someone to explain to me what that was. You know why nobody can? Because it was bullshit. Absolute 100% bullshit. They just needed a way, like, hey, listen, we haven't crushed the short vol players in a while, and we haven't had a nice transfer of wealth. Everybody's becoming too complacent. I don't know. What can we do here? I don't know. I don't know. Say something about Japan. No one's paying attention. I don't know. Just yen carry. Who's carry? I don't know. Just throw that shit out there. And we'll spike the VIX up. Everybody will freak out, and we'll take all their money, and then we'll move on because the market never goes down. Voila. That's what happened. So then we go to all-time highs. We're chopping around, right? And look, you had a real correction starting to happen. You had the blow-off top at all-time highs, double top. And then you had actual real reversal. And what you're looking at on my screen right there, these were the January lows, and that was prior. This was the yearly VWAP at the time. So I thought the market was going to go down anyway. But then it got serious because we went and tested those bullshit crash lows, and that's where we thought we can go, because once you get momentum in one direction, you tend to go take a gander at some significant levels. And the significant level that was nearby, once it broke under 470, was 420. And then thank you to Trump for, exasperating or exaggerating the crash, which the correction became the crash. But then, just like always, this is the part that gets amazing. The speed of the recovery now has become quicker and quicker and quicker because the market participants, the ones that count, understand that we never go down. And they're just inventing things now to throw at the market, like Iran and Israel. Does anybody really care? No, nobody cares. Because before the correction, there was a weekend where Iran and Israel were fighting it out and shooting rockets back and forth at each other. And that Monday, we opened up higher. Right there, Iran-Israel conflict priced in. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Right? So all the stuff that you read about in this industry or listen to or you think matter, none of it matters. Bull markets don't give a shit about the beige book. Nobody cares about interest rates anymore or tariffs. It's all priced in. Nobody cares about anything. Iran, priced in. Terrorism, priced in. So right now, the only thing that's going to derail the bull market is an event that literally might kill you. So why are you concerned? Don't be. Don't be a bear. Do what I've been doing. You want to be bearish? Cool. Be bearish in your mind, right? And then look at the market. Well, no reason to be bearish. Buy everything. And that's what I've been doing now since basically COVID, where if a pandemic is not going to derail the bull market, what is? Because everybody uses that word, unprecedented, right? Ooh, unprecedented. That was truly unprecedented. I'm not sure anybody lived through a pandemic. I know that was my first one, and it was a good one. I'm looking forward to the next one because I'm already hunkered down. But if the pandemic didn't derail the market, and what had happened? It became the greatest bull market of all time, and then it got a little bit too exaggerated, so it had to crash the market, right? And then what did that do? That created a new greatest bull market of all time. And it's either 80% of the boom, you get your 20% of the time where you correct the crash, and then most of the time you're going up. You seeing any red on the screen, right? What do you got? 2 ticks so far? We've been doing this for 16 minutes. Does anybody see any red on the screen? So this last time around, what you heard, right, ridiculous, was that Trump has broke the market so badly that people are pulling their investments from the United States. Who? Who is? Nobody. That's just them saying that out loud to frighten you. Oh my God, they're pulling assets out of the United. No, nobody is. Nobody was, nobody is, nobody ever will be. It's bullshit. All of it is absolute bullshit. Economic data, bullshit. Fundamental analysis, bullshit. 9 out of 10 stocks I trade that are on fire this year, none of them make any money. So the the EPS, or your earnings per share, there's no E. So your fundamental analysis is flawed. The best stocks are the ones that don't make any money because you can't value them, because it's a popularity contest based on fear, greed, and momentum. Everything you think about the market is wrong, especially if you're thinking fundamentally. You might be fundamentally insane, because if you haven't noticed, everything I'm saying is true. I've been doing this for 30 years, right? I used to try to think rationally. Rational thought doesn't work. That's why that term irrational exuberance, I have it tattooed on my ass. And on the other cheek, it says, if you can read this, I must be in prison. But there is no reason to ever short. And I'm talking about even the pump and dumps. You probably don't even want to go shorting. And I'm going to get to that BMNR trade, right? There is zero reason to be a shorter. So let me talk about this last run that we're on right now. And again, here's the cues, by the way. Just waiting for them to break VWAP. The selling is over already. Now you're just waiting for them to break VWAP and rip everybody's head off. But the cues are, they're acting like the ATM. So people are cashing out of some of their monstrous gains on the cues to pay for their other stocks. And there's plenty of other stocks. So go back to that point. Money never comes out of the market. First of all, it's never coming out of the United States. So that narrative, that was bullshit, right? And the market, the money never even comes out of the market. It rotates to the next sector. Oh, tech's taking the day off. All right, where's the money? It's not coming out of the market. So it's finding its new exciting places like energy, oil. You want to see some cool looking charts? How about Alcoa? Coming out. New shooter, coming out, right? Consolidation. How about some Schlumberger, right? You guys watch Schlumberger? How you doing, right? How about Halliburton? What's going on? You see where the money's going? Money never comes out of the market, it rotates. So just to prove my point one more time, a few weeks ago, right? And I've been watching the solar industry because next to weed stocks, which are never coming back, those are never coming back. That's the one sector that's never coming back. The jig is up. Nobody makes money doing weed. The weed industry is done. If you can grow something, and one guy said it the best, why would anybody invest in something you grow your own? Even though it's not that easy, I've tried. But that sector's garbage. But this next worst sector had been solar, right? First Solar's already had, it's had a nice move, First Solar. But most of these stocks have crashed and have been languishing in what we call the Andy Dufresne pattern. You guys know the Andy Dufresne pattern? By the way, do you see any red going on the screen? Anyone? Today is notoriously the most bullish day of the year. Read your almanac. What's up, Jeff? So here is the Andy Dufresne pattern. I'm going to show it to you on SEDGE. You guys know about SEDGE? Now this stock, just freaking awful, but awesome at the same time. Stock was $375. It went to $10. By the way, before it went to $10, and again, this is why I remain a bear. I like being bearish because most stocks in my lifetime look more like this. You'll have monstrous runs. They'll be awesome. Inevitably, they all have a shelf life, roll over, and die. Right? There's only one Tesla. There's only one Microsoft. But most stocks, no matter how awesome they are, eventually roll over and die. And if you know, there's about, 16,000 stocks out there? There's only 250 that control the entire market. Do you know that? Maybe you don't. There's about, let's go 400. 400 stocks out of 17,000 control the fate of the entire market. And even crazier, there's only 30 days a year when you have these monstrous up days that counts for most of the entire rally, which you probably missed most of it because you were panicking because Cardboard Guy was saying a bunch of stuff with percentages and names of countries. Sri Lanka, 26%. I didn't even know this was a country. It's Honduras, 16%. He's just yelling stuff and I'm like, why is the market going down like this? Who cares about what this guy's saying? It's all bullshit anyway, and it turned out to be absolute bullshit. Again, and it always will be. especially if it's a sell-off on some news. The only sell-offs that are real are organic sell-offs, when they sell because one level is tripping another wire and tripping another wire. So let's get back to the solar stocks, and I hope you guys are involved because I told you to buy these last week and the week before and the week before. So, Andy Dufresne, what's an Andy Dufresne pattern? I'll show you. You see how the stock is basically wallowing in this pattern right here? It's just going sideways. Remember Andy Dufresne working his way through the muck and the shit trying to escape from Shawshank prison? And then he gets out, the rain, and then he runs to the island. So Andy Dufresne is usually a massive consolidation, and when you come out of the consolidation, you run. And most of those, you know, again, I've hit some home runs, and if you did know me 5 years ago, one of my home runs was Carvana. Andy Dufresne, Carvana. Ryan knows what I'm talking about. He was around for this one. As people were still talking about staying short the stock under 10 bucks, I was talking about how this stock is going to be the most important buy in the history of mankind. And that was at $12. Okay? Because it was coming out of an Andy Dufresne pattern, breaking a multiple time frame VWAP. And my first target from 12 was 56.50. And people were like, what the hell are you talking about? They're going out of business. I'm like, are they? Do you know that? It doesn't matter if they're going out of business because fundamental analysis doesn't work. Once the stock starts going up, the shorts will get nervous. People will want to buy it. The shorts will get nervous and people will want to buy it. And the shorts will get nervous and people will want to buy it. And then if-then statements and momentum, and that's how the market works. And my price target, I said, if it breaks 57 bucks, it's easily going back to 120. There's the 120. The stock wound up going to 350. How you doing? And nobody knows if Carvana makes money, loses money. They've been investigated. There's short. The Hindenburg guys are going after. Everyone's going after the company. And to put it lightly, nobody gives a shit. Because once the stock goes up, it doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Nothing matters when the market's ripping. Nothing matters. Nothing matters. So let's go back to the solar, right? So here's my stock that I've been cultivating and swing trading, and it finally breaks the yearly high. Finally. I've been waiting and waiting, coming out of this chop. Oh, here we go. Oh, not this time. Oh, not this time. Oh, not this time. For a year. Waiting. Finally, it gets out officially from the quadruple top Andy Dufresne breakout, and then the next night comes that fake bullshit news that something government, something no subsidies, something, and it was all bullshit. So I think the best thing you do, so when you're trading, right, and the market starts doing something, you're like, oh, what's going on? Is that news? Who cares? Trade it as if there is no news. You trade the stock for what the stock is doing. So now, considering I believe every news story that comes out anywhere now is fake. There is no new news. There is no news that's real to me. So when this stock crashed, I was sitting there going, well, first I was unhappy because I had bought $25 calls coming out of the pattern. Who cares? You know, we're at 10 contracts at 50 cents, lost $500 here. But then they crashed the stock down to the yearly support. Thanks! In a market where you know everything's being manipulated, right? And again, let's be honest. If you were the president and you had the chance to manipulate the market, especially in today's environment where nobody cares about anything, remember when we used to be insulted about things? Not pearl clutching insulting. Remember when we were insulted if the president wasn't married or he cheated on his wife? That would end his career. Now nobody cares. You could be a rapist, right? Doesn't matter. Nobody cares about anything, right? So now in this type of environment that we're in, societal, market combination, nobody cares about anything. Why would you care about some fake news? So as soon as that news came out, that was the bullshit gap down. And then look where it gapped to. It gapped down and held the area where it came out of the original Andy Dufresne. Thank you very much. We're back in, and we're back in business with Blue Star. So what we do for a living every day, and if you don't know, I run a website called hitthebid.com. My name is Kenny Glick. I do a 4-hour commentary, and then my partner does another couple hours every day. We never stop talking, and all we do is bang out winners every day since 2007. Hitthebid.com. My name's Kenny Glick. Google it right now. But what we do best is this chart right here, right? So what you're looking at here, friends, is a 1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal. Now I want you to gaze deep into my eyes right now. I'm going to say something that might be alarming. I'm going to say something that you have no reason to believe is true. I'm going to say something now that might be so bewildering and off-putting that we might not be friends after I say it out loud. This trade, the 1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal on a stock that has news, hasn't failed in 3 years to provide a winning trade. What? What did you just say, Kenny? Yeah, I'll say it again. This setup, using just today's VWAP and prior day VWAP, on a stock that's in the news, and again, it helps to be friends with me because I know which stocks are being accumulated. When that chart pattern shows up, and wait, we got one. I just got an alert. Wait a second. Oh, we should have been in this one. Sho Bro VWAP break, the trade that never fails. So let me say that one more time. I have a trade that I've spent 30 years working on, right? 30 years of my life. So what I believed was a great trade, right? I combined what I knew about the market and all of its irrational awesomeness, and I combined it with VWAP and multiple time frame VWAP. And that combination of setups, we haven't had a loss. Think about it. In 3 years. Now, I'm not saying I haven't lost money in the market. I've had shitty investments. Obviously, I lost money on the SEDGE calls last week. I'm saying this particular setup where we make our bread and butter, our bones, the trade that pays for all your other shitty ideas. Since we back tested it since 07, we're coming in at around 78.5%. But in the last 3 years, not one of the setups, when it's the proper exact setup, has to be below the VWAP. It has to break a new low, then come back, and then hit the VWAP, pull back, and then break it. That's the setup. It's called the Sho Bro VWAP reversal. And the Sho Bro, if you guys are just joining in, hi, my name's Kenny Glick. This is the trade that I will change the way that you look at the market, because this chart pattern shows up every day on all time frames. And if you could conquer the day, you could conquer the week, the month, the year, your life. Because this is the trade. This is the trade. This is the way. So all you do, and again, I hate to break it to you, trading is boring. It's supposed to be boring. If you're sitting there on the edge of your seat freaking out on every trade, you're doing it wrong. You're a hunter. You're a fisherman. And you're going to the spot. Hey, I don't see any deer. Shh. Just wait. We've been here for like 2 hours, man. What the hell are we doing? Shh. Here comes one. Next thing you know, you're gutting it, making jerky, putting its head on your wall. All you had to wait is for 2 hours. If you don't have any patience, you'll never make it as a trader. And if you don't have patience for a trade that I just told you works every single time it shows up, then you not just are not going to make it as a trader, you're not going to make it in life. It's like walking into a casino and the guy says, hey, buddy, you with the shirt. Who, me? Me? Yeah, you with the shirt. Me? Yeah, come here for a second. I like that shirt. Just for you, I want to tell you something. For the next half an hour, at the roulette table right here. This one? Yes, this one. The one we're standing at, you idiot. Maybe I shouldn't be telling you this. Me? This one, yes. For the next half an hour, only the number 36 is going to be hitting. What should I do? Maybe bet 36, you idiot. Yes, that's this trade. Doesn't work all the time, but if you wait for it, it's like knowing which number is about to hit. You have risk reward in your favor. Even when it doesn't work, you have limited risk, which is great. And the best part about it, it seems to be working now on every stock, on every time frame, every day. And all you do is focus on the stocks that you believe. And again, if you know, here's the SEDGE trade, right? So I believe that the stock's under accumulation. I don't just believe it, I see it. Since the fake crash down to 14, the stock's been under accumulation. So here's 10 days worth of the VWAP, right? There's the fake crash. Here's the comeback, consolidation break, consolidation break, consolidate break. And here's a little faux Sho Bro. Faux Sho Bro yesterday, faux Sho Bro today. So the reason, let's go back to reasonings, right? Because everybody likes a reason. Why does this trade work so well, you'd like to know, right? Well, first of all, VWAP is an algorithmic language of the institutions. Okay? So VWAP is the institutional language of algorithms and institutional movement of the market. So just knowing that, when a stock is under the VWAP and it breaks back over the VWAP, algorithms trigger to be a buyer. And when you get over prior day VWAP, more triggers for more buying. And then when you break the high of the day, even more triggers. You know that now. But what you don't know now, also what you know is that when a stock breaks a low of the day and then another low, then comes back and then breaks the VWAP, that's the setup. So the faux Sho Bro is when a stock, let's say you bought it here and you saw the low. You thought, oh, that's probably the low of the day. I'm going to start buying it right here. What price do those people place their stops? At the low of the day. So they, or the stop hunting programs, right? Go and get those people. Fake out, shake out, breakout. Faux Sho Bro. Faux Sho Bro. So the reason this trade works so well, it's just like the power gap. The shorts just got short at the lows because that's what they do. The longs, who using those tight stops, they just got out. So everybody just got out. But what's worse is the shorter says, oh, man, it's not going down. I better start covering. All right, I'll wait till VWAP to cover. Oh, God. The long trader who just got out says, oh, man, this thing's going up without me. I don't want to miss out. So he's got the fear of missing out. So you got a short squeeze and the fear of missing out, and you got a VWAP break. That's why this trade works every time it shows up. And especially the market we're in right now, the bull market from hell, which will never end until we break the May 12th low, which it may never. As far as I'm concerned, today's pullback area is generational lows on the Qs. Because if you haven't noticed, every time we pull back, we wind up rallying for 3 weeks. So today's pullback on the Qs might be what we needed to springboard to, all-time highs. And I believe the market will be up tomorrow, and usually it's up on Thursday, and usually it will be up on July 7th. I thought, according to my calculations, I thought the market was going to sell off on July 11th and July 14th. I still might be right. But let's talk about this trade. If you want to be a day trader, there's nobody on earth that will teach you better about day trading than I am. You want to know why? I invented it. I invented day trading. And I'm not fucking around, right? Day trading did not exist before me and my crew. And we're still doing this. And every lesson that we've learned, everything that we've seen, the corrections, the crashes, the fake news, all the bullshit, we've taken it all and we've shoved it into 2 lines on our charts now. Because from careful experimentation, we have found that if you get over today, especially on a stock that's being accumulated, it's in the news, which solars are, 1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal, the trade hasn't failed. So if you got a trade that never fails and you could stick with just taking this trade, it's impossible for you not to make money. Impossible. Right? It's impossible. The trade works all the time. Now, when I say it works all the time, you see all the stock, it's a beautiful trade so far, right? $20 entry, 20 and a quarter entry. We sold some up here at 21.50, sold some at 22, got stopped out of some at 21.50, and now we're sold some at 22.50. So now our stop is where we sold some on the way up, which is the top of this channel. 22.16s are out. We're still in this name, right? Plus, I think it's going to 30 in the next, couple of weeks or months, but that's regardless. When I say something's worked and I say something provides you a winning trade, let's assume there's a chance that this stock goes down. I mean, it could. Let's say it breaks 22.16, starts to roll over, breaks the VWAP, breaks the multi-day VWAP, and next thing you know, the thing's at 19.50 later on today. And you say to yourself, whoa, this guy just told me the trade works all the time. It did. So if you're a buyer at 1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal at 20 bucks, and the stock went to 20, so it went up 3 points basically after you bought it, and you don't take profits, and you let a stock that went from 20 to 23 go back to 18 bucks without you getting out for a profit, or worse, turning it into a loss, whose fault is that? The trade's fault? My fault? No. That's your fault. Absolutely your fault. So I want to say this one more time. I do this every day. Scanners are always running. My charts are always running. My mouth is always running. And if I'm not talking, my algo programmer is running. He's talking about his algo that does pretty much the same thing, even a slightly bit better right now. We also understand the market never goes down. So if you guys have been waiting, if you haven't bought the Qs yet, you probably should have been in them already. And I'm thinking 54.66. And by the way, let me just show you why that red line is there. So we were looking for reasons where the stock market could pull back to, right? That is the 5-day VWAP. You see how you broke back under it? So you faux Sho Bro'd and then you held it on the last pullback. But let me show you the last 10 days on a half an hour basis. What did the market just do? All it's doing, it's a program. So it's if then. So if it breaks recent lows, it needs to go test the next most recent low. And what price was that? Right there. That was 544.54. 544.54. Where'd we go today? 544.66. So off by 10 cents. And that's where we started thinking, all right, probably going to be a buy soon. And that's just us, again, we're pretty damn good at what we do here because we know the market's rigged to specific prices and VWAP. And that's all we do every day. Same thing. So I'll show you a couple other things that we're looking at. And let me talk about BMRN for a second. BMNR, sorry. So now why are we in this thing, right? And some of us are still in it. I got stopped out on that move right there, but pretty sick run. And if you guys know about the stock, here's the 3-day chart. You're going to get a kick out of this one. Here's your 3-day chart in the 10 minutes. Yeah. It started at $4. Yeah. Yeah. $4. Right? But here's the fun part. Here's the Friday close. The Friday close was what was the Friday close? I forgot. Friday close was 442. No, it was 42.60, I remember. Anyway. So what is this stock, you ask? Well, nobody really knows. Who cares? But right now, there's a new fad in town, right? What's the fad? You mentioned something similar to MicroStrategy's Bitcoin, your stock's going to rock. And market participants know that. Hey, what's the fad of the day? How can we get our stock to go up 600, 700%? I don't know, mention something with Bitcoin or some sort of MicroStrategy, and people will glom onto it. Either you mention you have a partnership with NVIDIA, or you mention something about a cryptocurrency, stablecoin, Bitcoin collaboration, blah, blah, blah. SMR is one of them, not SMR, SRM. You had that news, as well as CYN. And these popped and they dropped. Here's the difference. BMNR, Bitmine Immersion Technologies Incorporated, will be forever known as the Tom Lee stock. Because yesterday, Tom Lee, not only did he see his shadow, which ensures us at least 12.5% more upside to the S&Ps, he also said that he's got a deal and he's working with this company. And he explained what they do. And even before the sentence was over, I bought the stock because I don't give a shit what they do. If Tom Lee's involved, I'm in. Because this market is what? It's a popularity contest. Who's more popular than Tom? The poster child for the bull market, right? Tom knows the market never goes down. That's why he never changes his tune. One year he'll be wrong, but who cares, right? Some people don't like Tom Lee because he never changes a tune. But you know what? He's always right because the market never goes down. So he mentioned this stock. So it went from obscurity, right? Here's a 1 month chart. Came out at the beginning of June. Nobody even knew it existed. Down every day since its IPO. And then you power gapped on Tom Lee talking about it. And when you read about this, and you'll see the funny part about this industry is anytime a stock goes up a couple of 100%, everybody on the internet knew about it. Every Discord room alerted their members to it. Every website was hip to it. Everybody knew it except you. Now, here's the thing. They all say, oh, they were the first ones in. You didn't have to be the first one in. You didn't have to be the second one. You could have been the 9th one in, and it still did pretty well. Because nobody was buying it in the pre-market because it started to go up at 4 o'clock in the morning. But then Tom started talking about it, right? And then it broke the pre-market highs. I'm in. Pre-market high, Tom's talking about it, I'm in. What is it? Still don't care. Tom's in it, something cryptocurrency. I'm in, right? Stock starts to rip. You're in a stock, I bought the stock at, my first entry was around $9. So I bought it on this $9 break, assuming it was going to go to 10. And if you know anything about the market, and if you don't know this part, let me explain to you a blue sky breakout. Blue sky breakout means a stock's never been as high as where it is. And you never know how high it's going to go. But I do. Because I've been doing this for 30 years. When a blue sky breakout happens on a $10 stock, the first thing you say to yourself is 10 gets you 12.50. You break 12.50, you go to 15. You break 15, you go into 17.50. But that's when the fun just starts. Because if you get into the 20s, almost 75% of the time, and these are real statistics, I've been doing this my whole life, 20 gets you 30. But that's when the fun begins, because if your stock gets into 30, 30 gets you 50. You guys remember CoreWeave, remember ARM, remember Reddit, all the same thing. IPO high break, you buy it. What's 30 get you? 30 gets you 50. What's 50 get you? What's 50 get you? And if you said 60, it's a good guess. No. If you said 70, I said no. 50 gets you 80. Look where the stock went. Now, right now, I'm a little mortified that it didn't get to 80, but it got to 74.80. Close enough, right? And you want to hear something insane? The stock is still a buy. You know why? Because say this out loud. If it doesn't want to die, it's still a buy, right? And this was a $4 stock on Friday. And now it's at $74. Or now it's at $64. And it tried to die and it held. You see that spike down price? That is now the VWAP. That is the only price where if I was, and I'm not in it anymore. So what I'm hoping for is that this stock tries to go down and breaks this VWAP and goes and tests its old friends down there at 50. Because I'm going to tell you this right now, Holmes. If this stock Sho Bro is like it did last night and it did this morning, there's the fake out, shakeout, and this is why we bought it again this morning, 39.80 at 7 o'clock this morning to 57. And then at that time, I was like, listen, guys, if it ever breaks back above the high of the day, just buy it. And we chased it at 60, made a little bit of money. Now we're out again. But for a $4 stock that's sitting here at $64 to be consolidating the way this is, it's telling me that there's still a buyer out there. But what I'm hoping for is that they do manipulate it to the point where they scare everybody out. I'll be waiting. I think you should be waiting too, because if we get the opportunity to get this bad boy somewhere between the 44 from earlier and the 50, that's where risk reward is going to be back in our favor. Because you still have to factor in this stock's going to 80. Oh, did I tell you the fun part after that? 80 gets you 120. 120 gets you 150. 150 gets you 180. 180 gets this. Wait, this one is really becomes fun. 180 gets you 250. Now, if you think those prices are coming off the top of my head, no. I've been living this life my whole life. I used to watch IPOs back in the 90s, remember? When they all went from 40 to 500. And there's patterns to it. And it was also based on options expiration and the bigger price of stocks. They would have half-point increments, then you had 2.5-point increments, 5-point increments. And that's how stocks still trend and trade. So when you have these blue sky breakouts, you have to keep factoring that in. And so far this year, one of our blue sky breakouts, ASTS, what happened? Finally breaks over 39. What are we looking for? We're looking for 50. And if you guys know anything about this stock, buy it right this. Actually, you know what? Hang on a second. Where's my son? ASTS, kid. ASTS right now. It's trying. So right now here, let me show you this trade right here, because I wasn't planning on putting on a trade, but I've been waiting to buy this today. So you got your little foe when you show, fake out, shake out, and then you got back to VWAP, and now you tested the fake out area. You didn't get to the shakeout area. So that's mildly bullish enough. And now the test of VWAP that failed, you got a shallower pullback. This stock's telling me that the accumulation might be, underway, and the next phase of this break of this stock is about to break through this range. And what's wonderful about the opportunity right here is, and again, usually at 12:49, I'm not putting on trades, but again, I'm pointing this one out there because of what I do. I just circle through the trades that I'm looking to do today. Obviously SEDGE working out so far. It's the only thing I'm really in. And, I'm not talking about my other trades, but this setup now, if it comes back to say 45 and change and doesn't break it again, that next move up probably is the break. So now I sit here and I stalk this trade, and if it breaks over that half, I'm in, and then I look for it to get up to that 45.70, and then hopefully the areas where it tested VWAP earlier. So interesting. And just let me show you why I love myself some ASTS is that we were involved in that. So we've all been paid handsomely on ASTS. So this is now not our new best friend, but it came out of a year-long consolidation, triple, quadruple faux Sho Bro, and damn, did we get paid. And we nearly top-ticked it, wound up selling it on the way back down at 50 for the swing trade. Again, I could bullshit you and say we sold it all up there, but nobody's that good. But we loaded up on the break of 35, really got aggressive at 39.08 because that was an all-time high. And of course, the idea was that finally, this one took a year to get there, but it finally did. 5 got you 12.50, 12.50 got you 15, all the way up to 40. Here's where we thought it was definitely going to 50, and then it consolidated for a year, but inevitably got to 50, just took an extra year. And love the name. I still think this thing, once it gets over 54 bucks, it won't be coming back. You're going to be looking at this thing at 80 bucks or 120. Love it. Love the name. The stock has qualified itself 20 times for me, and I hate most stocks. I freaking love this stock, and I really do think it's, I wouldn't mind to see it test the breakout at 39.08 for me to get aggressively buying it again for a swing or to own the stock, but I like it. So let's go back to the couple of stocks at hand. I want you to watch these going into the end of the day. All right. First of all, the Qs, right? I don't know if anybody's long the Qs already. You got the hard part out of the way. There's the VWAP retrace, right? So the market, we all know it never stays down. So the first stage of the comeback is usually the VWAP retracement. You got there. So the buyers who bought support, they're going to sell here. And now you'll get what we call the VWAP jiggle or the shift or the shuffle. Remember, if you bought 544.75 or 545, your first goal is to get that back to the VWAP. So now you'll have profit taking at the VWAP. You consolidate from the place where we just broke from and the VWAP. I'm going to give it all the red lines because it's a new setup we're looking at, right? You're at where we rolled over earlier. This is now the VWAP. The market's obviously in a uptrend since the testing of the lows from last week. And right now, I'm ho, as we say. I'm ho, in my humble opinion. I'm ho. Not only would I not want to be short anymore, I would have covered my short here. And then take a look at this little subtlety right there. Little faux show, and now VWAP breaking. Probably shouldn't be shorting anymore. It's amazing the short actually lasted for as long as it did today. And if you're playing by the rules, this would be the last. I mean, if you're really a glutton for punishment, I guess you would wait the 48.50 to cover the rest. But this is what I wanted to talk about today, and we did a good job at it. The reason that shorting is irrelevant now. Not only does nobody care about anything in economics and macroeconomics and fundamentals, and none of that's all that's bullshit. If you can take away something from today, stay bullishly biased no matter what. Until we start breaking, seriously, we start breaking weeks ago's lows. And if we would have rallied and then rolled and broke that prior day low, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So again, ASTS, we're in. So, and the Qs, you're in, right? These are how trades form. You're stalking, right? We've been sitting here waiting. I've been talking about the Qs, right? I said you probably should be long already, right? Here you are. Because, let me say this one more time, the market never goes down, ever. We're still in a power gap since May 12th. There is nowhere for this market to go but up. Because everybody's still chasing performance, covering their shorts, and freaking the fuck out! Nobody wants to be left out. The fear of missing out is the most bullish thing you could ever. Momentum and the fear of missing out. And now, you got VWAP breaking and shorts are getting annihilated. That's the makings for a parabolic move. And if you think, oh, but this market's rallied so far so much already, has it? According to who? We're up 8 points. We're up 8 points on the Qs. What, you're taking that fake crash into consideration? Oh, but we've rallied 45% off lows. And what? So what? That was fake. That was all bullshit. That's your problem, right? Most market participants are just looking at the market. Oh, we're up now. We're up 8 points on the Qs for the year. We just had a temporary glitch in the matrix right here. That's all that was. It was a bunch of bullshit, right? So now, if we consolidate above the all-time high break, where are we going from here? Up another 12.5%, which gets us to 604. So you want to short the market when we're on the precipice of another 12.5% move to the upside, and then another 30% next year, another 50% after that? Why? Why bother? Do what I'm doing. Take your bearishness and shove it, and just wait for the bull to confirm. And every day it does, just like SEDGE, right? Wait, just look. Give me a reason to be bearish, and I will. But you 1 minute multi-day VWAP reversal. No bearishness, right? There's zero to be bearish about. And again, as the ex-president of the Bear Foundation of America, now I'm just a traveling secretary, you got to understand. I know everything there is to know about shorting. I know it doesn't work. I know I've never blown up an account on a long trade. It's always been a short. The market never goes down. No matter what you think. The market never goes down. It never goes down. Crashes and corrections are part of it. We're on a steady incline, and there's so many different moving parts now, it's impossible for the market to stay down anymore. So if you want to be bearish, okay, cool. At least let the market confirm your bearishness. And today it did, on the Q short. See how it confirmed bearishness? You see that orange line up there? That's confirmation of bearishness. And at that moment, I was like, holy shit, we might not actually go up today. And then we broke back under the VWAP and broke under the pre-market pivot. I'm not going to sit here and deny my eyes. If I see something that's bearish, yeah, there's a reason to be a shorter. But always keep in your back of your mind that shorting is short-lived and you're going to die. And it's the best way to trade right now. And that's the way I'm living my life. So I keep my bearishness to myself until you really prove it to me. And I'll tell you something. I will get aggressively short if the market proves it can go down. And here's the one element of proof that I need. UVXY has to be above 20 bucks. This is a volatility product. It's the fear index. You see where it is? Red. I don't take any selling serious anywhere if UVXY is sitting there in the red. UVXY is above 1925, 1950 today, and let alone if it's over 20, then you know we're really going down. But keep that UVXY handy. Anytime you're thinking about shorting something, go look at UVXY. I don't want to short anything. When UVXY is trending up and the market's weak, then you're onto something. But other than that, every stock is a buy on dip. Every stock is going higher. And we're talking about 10%, 20%, 50%, 100%. So before I leave, I hope you guys have been buying some of the stocks I told you about over the last couple of weeks. SRAT, all-time highs. You guys still in it? I gave it to you around 22.50 when we first met. Come on. 28.50 today. Let's go. Right? What else did I give you? I gave you NVTS around $5, right? This one I'm not loving so much, but you had a chance to make over 100% on your name. I'm thinking about dumping it. If you guys are following my swing trades, I'm thinking about dumping it because it just broke under the range today. Kind of unhappy about it. I've been in it for quite some time. I really wasn't expecting to get stopped out. I thought we'd consolidate above 7 and ripped it 11 by now. A little disappointed, but it's just a stock. Who cares? SEDGE, still we're back in SEDGE. I don't plan to get out unless it goes red today, which now, again, just got stopped out of some of it. My last stops are obviously the blue line. I don't let anything break back below the VWAP. And I'll leave you with this. Kenny, that's me, at hitthebid.tv. Kenny at hitthebid.tv. You got a lower third? You want to put that up there? Kenny at hitthebid.tv. You say, I love Kenny. I would like a free trial to his room next week with no strings attached. And then send the email. Kenny at hitthebid.tv. Ask for a free trial. I'm opening the doors. I'm taking the red velvet rope and I'm putting it aside. I told my bouncers to take the week off. Everyone's invited. All day, all night, every day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week. And you'll get to know me and my crew. And hopefully you'll join. And we'll all enjoy the bull market from hell as it rips and tears the heads off everyone who thinks we're ever going down ever again. All right, my friends, Kenny at hitthebid.tv. Join us every day. And we'll have a gay old time. Wilma? All right, be careful out there, especially if you're shorting stocks, because this market, you might have seen generational lows today. Seriously. All right, be careful. Peace, my friends. Let's go solar.